My mama was locked up. My daddy, my brothers, my cousin, everybody.
There are 2.3 million people locked up in the United States.
I spent more time in prison than I've been in society. That's a shame.
Around half for non-violent crimes.
I shouldn't be in here. I'm in here, basically, for skipping school.
These inmates are costing states billions they can't afford.
Our number one frequent flyer is not dangerous, but we have probably spent millions of dollars on this guy.
Frontline takes you inside one American neighborhood where getting locked up is a part of everyday life.
The system's set up for them to fail because when they come out of prison, there's nothing for them.
And inside one state that is trying to fix a broken system.
Incarceration is America's genocide for the Black Americans. Let's be clear. They want to make it about a crime issue, but when you starve a group of people out economically, then you're going to have crime in a capitalist society, especially when you have the widening gap of wealth inequality that we have in America. So rather than create opportunities, the objective is to mass incarcerate you, to prevent you from being able to reproduce as much as possible. They then expanded past just locking up the men to locking up the women, to locking up the children for insignificant purposes. The American legal system is nothing but a lynching tree.
He's kidnapping us. He's kidnapping us. Wait, but the best is that this is.
I got dash cams inside. All right, thank you. I'm at the corner of Anita Drive and Hanover Road.
You are a liar. You are a liar.
Anita Drive and Hanover Road.
You are a liar. You are.
I have a 2016 Toyota Camry.
And he has a child locked in the car. A child locked in the car.
There are no child locks. You just got out.
We can't get out of the car, sir.
You're on video. You just got out.
We can't get out.
You're on video. You just got out.
Help! Help!
She just got out.
This is a game. They just tried to get this man murdered. But this is a game to white people. You're watching white people become uncivilized. Let's be clear about this.
He's kidnapped.
The American legal system is the lynching tree of the 21st century. Let's be clear about this. There's plenty of evidence to state this, and just the same as white women used to use incidents in the past to get black men lynched, now they do that to get black men incarcerated for decades without any evidence. There's no difference between hanging them on trees and now sentencing them to prison. They take away majority of your life and let you out when you're 28 years later.
The chain had come off my bicycle. I was bending over to fix it, and I heard someone say, "Get off it." I looked up. A man was holding a knife. At the time, I was a sculptor. I carved, I looked at his knife. I almost laughed. I mean, what's wrong with this picture? The long and the short of it was eventually I yelled. It took a while. He tried to stab me. It was this whole little routine. And then the police showed up. And the first thing they said was he was black, right? It never crossed my mind. I never saw it. And then they took me to the Central Park precinct and they coached me. I don't remember what they said, but I knew they wanted me to nail someone. They brought me into a room. There was a black man sitting in a chair. I just said, "I am so sorry." They just grabbed some guy out of the street and they figured I wouldn't know the difference. And that wasn't the first time this happened. It happened 3 times.
Any crazy New York
The American legal system is nothing but a lynching tree for the black man. Any black man will do any incident they could use to justify the incarceration of a black man will do. And you don't have to be the perpetrator. Just grab a black man if he don't have an alibi, if he don't have the resources to fight and prove his innocence against the entire state. then we're going to lock him up. That is the current condition of American legal system. It is a lynching tree. Let's be clear about that. And there's countless evidence of blacks being exonerated after 25, 30 years, and there was no evidence that could even connect them to the crime. This is repeatedly happening with black people. At some point, we have to wake up and understand what this legal system is and what American system is. It is a system designed to destroy and crush the black man. Just because genocide doesn't happen directly, doesn't happen instantly, just because they're not putting you in gas chambers, doesn't mean America is not committing genocide against the black man. They're doing it through the prison system. The land of the free has 2 million prisoners. 25% of the world's incarcerated are in America, the so-called land of the free. Now, this black man was sentenced for rape in the 80s, and this author had wrote a book about her rape experience, but the whole time she had lied on this man, pointed this man out, and she had no clue that who her rapist was, or really the truth is, did she actually get raped? We do not know. But this man was sent to prison and served 16 years for something he did not commit.
This court grants defendant's motion.
Tonight, tears of relief, nearly 40 years in the making.
40
I'm still crying with
years.
joy, relief right now today. I'm really overwhelmed. Words can't describe it.
Anthony Broadwater exonerated by a New York State Supreme Court judge this week at 61 years old, after spending most of his life paying for a crime he didn't commit.
With joy and relief, I went up to the gravesite to see my dad and tell him I wish to God he was here.
Broadwater was 20 when he was charged with the rape of Alice Sebold, who went on to write bestseller The Lovely Bones. The alleged crime happened in 1981 at a park in Syracuse, New York. Sebold described the attack in detail almost 20 years later in Lucky, a book that launched her career as an author. Her next hit, The Lovely Bones, was later adapted into an award-winning film. But all this was after Broadwater was convicted for first-degree rape and 5 related charges. He spent 16 years in prison. Through the years, he maintained his innocence. After serving his sentence, he quickly realized his life would never be the same.
The moment I stepped out, it was like impossible to get a job. There's 10 fingers I can count on my hand of the people that accept me in their household. Can't get past 10.
He never stops trying, through appeals, motions, and even 2 polygraph tests to prove his innocence. But nothing worked. Until a film producer working on a screen adaptation of Sebold's book Lucky hired a private investigator to look into the evidence presented against Broadwater in court. They became convinced Broadwater was telling the truth.
Together, we looked through the trial transcript.
20 years later,
this was
they could figure this out, but the police couldn't at the time it
Earlier
happened.
this month, Broadwater's new lawyers filed a motion to vacate his conviction based on now discredited scientific evidence and Sebold's identification of Broadwater as the perpetrator.
no one questions that Miss Sebold was sexually assaulted. She absolutely was.
Now, I don't believe she was.
Broadwater on the street about 5 months later. Had a feeling this was the person who had raped her and reported it to police.
She is asked to look at the individuals at some point in the lineup, and she picks out number 5. Anthony Broadwater was number 4.
Attorneys say they learned the next part of the story from Sebold's book, which they presented to the court as new evidence.
After that, the prosecutor walks in the room and begins to tell her, well, you picked the wrong guy, but essentially, don't worry, your hunch is correct. It actually is number 4.
Despite not picking him out of the lineup, at the trial, Sebold claimed Broadwater was the perpetrator. In a statement on Broadwater, the Onondaga County District Attorney, who supported the exoneration, said in part, "It is never too late to do the right thing." A spokesperson for Scribner, the publisher of Lucky, telling NBC News news, neither Alice Sebold nor Scribner has any comment. Scribner has no plans to update the text of Lucky at this time.
Not only did this woman cost this man 40 years of his life, right? She has no remorse. She has no apology to do. She don't have a statement to give, period. What about she also benefited financially from this story that she created. That's what we have to understand. The DA, what about the wealth and the accolades he has achieved off his career falsely incarcerating black people? What about the wealth that his family has achieved from his evil doing of taking the lives of black people from his participation of genocide? What about the judges who benefited knowing there was no evidence in this case and it should have been thrown out immediately when there was nothing to link him, just this woman's word? The legal system has never been just to black people. You have never been innocent until proven guilty. You have always been proven guilty the moment white people said you was guilty.